This Zeri gaming must be stopped. It must be stopped. Let's see whether Nongshim are going to be able to stop it or whether T1 will stop it here in the draft as we hop into game number 2.
In game 1 as well.
Yeah.
It's made for the draft, no biggie. Makes sense as well, considering the setups that we had, and I wouldn't be surprised if exactly the same thing happens here.
Well, Kalista going to be the second ban here from Nongshim, much like it was in game number 1. Poppy the second ban. So Yuumi is still available, which could raise some eyebrows. Wukong actually going to be banned here. Was, of course, the first pick from Nongshim and was also a fantastic pick for Dread. But they are going to go for a different angle this time around, and we'll see what Nongshim are going to lock away here.
Does there be one? Oh,
Sivir, okay.
Sivir. Well, remember when Zeri was ignored in the previous game?
It's possibly going to happen again. We'll see what the answer to the Sivir is here, because of course, Zeri does do well in lane against the Sivir, but
yeah,
maybe there's like a Jinx angle here, because Jinx was the classic counterpick to the Sivir.
I think it's Azir Zeri. I think they're handshaking. Yeah.
That makes me a little bit sad.
It was nice not having to watch Zeri.
I didn't want to have the certification onus to be on us, you know, because we like to rely on Wolf to certify the Zeri moments.
I'm not a certifier. I'm not doing it.
Well, like, we don't even have the phone number. Wolf was on the phone to them yesterday, and I don't even have the number. He didn't even share it with us. So Vi is going to be locked in here for Nongshim. Dread's going to lock that one away. BDD thinking about giving the Sylas another go, and he will do so. Into the Azir, definitely a good Sylas angle, but BDD has, this season, not been super hot on the Sylas.
Just in general, Nongshim have been completely ignoring this pick for the most part. Either banning it or letting go. But it is an incredible matchup into the Azir. A lot less all-in than something like the Akali, but seen this one before, Atlas. You might look at that 50% win rate and go,
yeah, that's not owner's win rate.
At least not in the best states. And I'd agree with you. I don't think the champion right now is particularly good. I also don't think it matters when it's owner piloting it. He is right now the only one in the LCK that has the I'm allowed to play Lee Sin card because his champion scales exponentially with player skill. And if you play it well enough, it scales indefinitely because of the amount of playmaking potential that the ultimate has.
Yeah.
And owner has shown time and time again that although he gets a little funky sometimes with the cues he takes, when the push comes to shove, he's always more than ready to put the team on his back, as no supports have been picked up yet. So as a result, just a complete amount of bans going that way. Expect the Alistar ban here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that will be a easy R4 here for T1, with them both getting a counter pick for Zeus, provided that it's not Lee top, but it's not Rascal, so I don't expect to see that coming in. But no, going to be the Rakan instead, so... Okay.
Whoa! All right. Well, that is a Renekton, and that has already been locked in here, of course. Kana can pick anything into it if he wants to. I mean, Gwen's available, so theoretically they could go for a bit of a Gwen angle here. I wouldn't mind Gwen Tahm Kench for Nongshim if they'd like to. But Renata Glask also still available. Snowflower hasn't necessarily found too much success on this champion.
Azir Renekton, Atlas.
Good old
it will haunt me
Azir Renekton
until the end of time. As
this is like actually last year's Gen G composition, just happening with a brand new
instead of
champion
Jinx, it's Zeri.
Yeah,
that's the only swap out.
Absolutely, I respect it.
Yeah, Gragas has been one of the more reliable counters into the Renekton, and of course we have seen the Renekton have just an immense amount of presence, regardless in the early skirmishes. It's not a pick that you pick just for lane, and I'd expect T1 to go in a very aggressive direction. Ornn also great into Renekton, matchup that works very differently as opposed to the Gragas that I think can actually push back a little bit more reliably and deal with the Renekton very well in terms of getting him out of team fights in the later stage of the game. Ornn is Ornn. Like, we know what the champion does. We've seen it countless times. And overall, Nongshim with a nice front-to-back composition. Do think the Vi and the Sylas give you some mid 2v2 power, but is a lot harder to, I think, reliably get a big impact out of them. As Keria sees Renata and says, I can punish an Enchanter.
Yeah.
No problem. And Zeri is already fast enough. I don't want to see the limits to which speed will go in this one.
And also, Vi can very reliably get on top of Zeri.
Yeah.
But can Vi very reliably get on top of Zeri twice? That's the question.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
That's going to be difficult. I think that we're going to be relying on Silas to potentially allow Sivir to do the same thing. Of course, Chrono Shift can be picked up by BDD if he somehow manages to make that one work. Of course, Emperor's Divide will be the priority here for the Silas. This is basically BDD being able to play his best champion as well as Silas at the same time in this composition. And we'll see whether he's going to be able to find some redemption here, because his Silas, when it first came out, it was sort of a one and done, and he was like, this did not work for us whatsoever. I'm looking forward to seeing whether he can find some redemption on the pick.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
I just want to highlight the amazingly styled owner Lee Sin there. As overall, I personally am happy to see all these Nongshim fans supporting their teams.
So many Ghost fans as well, which I think is really, really nice. Yeah. A lot of goos going on there. Just goo everywhere. As Nongshim, nice composition. Not a lot of range, but they don't necessarily need it. They've got Renata Glass. And, of course, on the other side of the Rift, not exactly a range problem that they're running into here, outside of the fact that Emperor's Divide can help keep people at arm's length. But T1 looking like a very standard draft as we move towards game number 2. Let's hop in, see whether T1 can bring us to a 2-0 or whether Nongshim can fight back. My God, that is a very, very loud crowd here in Lol Park. Of course, pretty understandable, but it sounded to me like some people in the Nongshim seats are actually T1 fans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird how that goes.
Who would have thought?
Shocker. Again, we're learning so much today, Atlas.
Yeah.
I thought coming in that we were going to be just kind of out of it. And we still are, but we're also learning stuff. So
we are.
It makes it a little bit better.
Learning all sorts of things. Like T1 has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Zeus likes Renekton. Yeah, exactly. You were talking about this, and Renekton was locked in blind, and you mentioned that Gragas is a pretty good counter pick, and then he switched over to Ornn and said that's a pretty good pick into the Renekton as well.
Is, yeah.
That's sort of pointing out to me that maybe Renekton isn't necessarily all that blindable.
Well, I actually think it's a very interesting conversation when we talk about the Renekton, because we have seen without a shadow of a doubt that like Renekton doesn't need to stomp lane to be useful. If he does stomp lane, he is similar to champions like Aatrox that then just completely 1v9 the game for the first 20 to 30 minutes. But the real power of the champion comes around the early skirmishes, and I think T1 is going to opt very heavily into those. And the on-demand lockdown, which enables Owner, which enables Faker, is something that's always going to be good. And in addition to that, I think Zeus is one of our best players, not just because of his great hands, but also because he identifies very, very accurately what is my job in any given situation. So when he's fed, he carries, but when he's not fed, in case his Renekton is just a relatively uneventful crocodile that doesn't really get that much done, he will still have, albeit somewhat subpar, job as a peel machine for Gumayushi. Maybe he just makes sure that Faker can get some big shuffles in by going into the enemy backline, popping a spell shield, and making sure that Ghost doesn't get out scot-free. So excited to see what we'll end up getting for this Renekton. But as mentioned, I do think when it comes to purely the 1v1, Ornn with Grasp has been very good into this pick for a long amount of time. Can actually trade very well into the Renekton, and don't expect it to change. Although there are some builds, of course, we have seen. Oh, Dread, I'm liking this.
Yeah, wrapping around. Vault Breaker does come through. Gets the auto reset here as Owner connects a Q, but I don't think he's winning this fight. There it is. Dread had the auto attack already primed, and he solo kills Owner in his jungle. All right, well, as you can see, Owner hasn't had too much trouble in this matchup in the past. He's been the only Lee Sin to be able to actually take down the Vi. But he's going to have to do that after being first-blooded. And what happened to Dread today? He is playing so well.
Well, that's Dread also not even connecting his Q onto Owner.
Yeah, the Vault Breaker damage wasn't there.
No. And he still pummeled it. Oh, he's Vi. That's kind of her thing. But I'm very pleasantly surprised. Very, very proactive early game here from Dread. Owner now tasked with the unfortunate job of trying to take Scuttle when you're a jungler that doesn't have CC. So gonna take a little bit more time on that one. And the acceleration of Dread was a big part of why the early game in the previous game was in favor of Nongshim. And now Owner is, I think, possibly looking to return the favor, but he's down a level and he's sitting on a longsword, whereas Dread has a Coalfields. Dread's gonna spot him, and Owner's like, no, I don't want anything to do with this. This is not a good time for me.
Well, Zeus looking for some CC here, as does know that the Vi is in the area. Just cleared out that control ward, of course. And Dread will just get a control ward of his own, place it down here in this brush.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, Zeus, you have to be careful. That's a flash forward here from Canna. The Brittle is going to get procced, and is this just another kill? Dread picks up his second of the game, and Zeus, a very rare, huge overextension.
Because generally what happens is the jungler walks in, places the control ward, and then pieces out. But they didn't do that. Dread just was like, I'm calling your bluff.
Yeah.
Walks around, takes him down.
Just chilling.
Not impressed whatsoever, as here, really nice as well the setup from Kana, making sure that prime it beautifully, right? Like you get the Brittle proc, and as a result, he's locked in.
Yeah.
He's CC'd, so it's an easy follow-up for Dread. And I think Zay is there, like flashing doesn't really get you anything because Dread also still has a slash available, and you still die, so might as well try to keep that one alive for a skirmish that without a shadow of a doubt is going to come through. And Dread,
This is the Dread that we thought we'd see all year.
Yeah.
And now, with only a week or so to go, he finally shows up in 2022. Maybe 2023 is where we're going to see the real Dread for the entire year, which would be a brilliant time. Zona comes on over yet again. Don't know whether he really wants this, but Carrier is in the area. That rhyme, pretty cute. Extender Beam not going to do all that much damage as Dread tries to find the Vault Breaker, but does not get it.
Yeah, actually taking a camp in a scenario where you're not actually killing the Lee is basically impossible to be executing this keep, so nicely done there. But regardless, it's huge wins for Nongshim across the board because they're going to get themselves an early break again. And overall, they're actually playing towards Dread's leads. And it's really interesting in a split where junglers have mostly been relegated to being extensions of the bot lane for the largest part. We have seen some carry jungle performances. Canyon's Carthus comes to mind, but overall, it's been Trundle, it's been Lee, it's been Vi, it's been so much Wukong and Viego.
And Poppy, yeah.
Yeah, and all things considered, those champions are generally more about either the cleanup or the setup. Set up the rest of the team, make sure that they can perform. So seeing Dread get an early lead, rapidly accelerate towards that Campang Chainsword. So having a really good time is really cool.
Yeah.
Gonna echo the caveat again.
That, in there.
Yeah,
it's
a bit of unfortunately not actually able to get one which
Cannon's
it's
a rough time.
You want the cannon.
Oh, okay. No, never mind. Bella's Breath is going to secure it there. I didn't see the hammer come down from the blacksmith, so I was a little bit worried there for Canna, but Breathing Fire is going to be a reliable way of destroying minions. As Dread, once again on the hunt for Owner, and B2D is going to be here to back him up as well as he's got that shove, so this is going to be a red buff that does belong to Dread. Kumushi to come on through here, but he gets his hand shook and gonna have to flash to get himself out of the way of this one. Now Zeus is rotating over. It's a nice kickback. Faker's here as well. And Dread just going to get taken down. I don't know how that positioning ended up happening, but going to get caught.
And that right there is some of the power that you will still have, even in a scenario where you get put behind early. Because while the 1v1 very firmly in favor of Dread, 2v2, especially post 6, a lot rougher. As now, Kana and BDD are still pressuring here. I don't think they should.
Yeah, can't do anything. No smites available or anything like that. So this is belonging to T1.
And this is very much unlike what we've seen from Nongshim, where individual performances can be great, but Dread being that deep without actually having BDD there, or knowing that Zeus has already rotated so far ahead of Kana, is much more in line with what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
As, BDD walks over, but then decides the better of it, and they seem to be unaware of the crocodile that's on its way. And this is, of course, the power, as we see. Owner knocks him over, and then Zeus, who has already Dominus to make sure that he actually has the Rage available to lock down the Vi. Pex gets the clean kill, and also on bot lane, which we didn't really cover, Gumayusi gets the back cancel off, but then as was, he's gonna at the very least get the ultimate here, which is nice. But then is forced to flash, ghost, and Carry has to use heal. So costly investment, but in the end not going to be enough, as this is that might as well be 7-0.
It might as well. Chovy is, I mean, we witnessed that game. That was an actually insane performance that Chovy put down. Of course, Gen G, sometimes it's not about the mid lane matchup, and so therefore that's possibly what went on as well. Only going to rotate over though, and his Lee Sin, even though he got solo killed at like level 2, I'm still a little bit scared here for Nongshim.
Yeah, no, definitely. Keep that fear.
Yeah. That's one of those things, you know. Dread going to pop on over, spots the fact that the Lee Sin is here. Snowflower's rotating up though. Carrier's going to have to speed his way out. Will be able to do so, but BDD, no control of this mid lane. Faker able to keep pushing this one in. And so nothing doing here on the side of Nongshim. We want to see whether they can actually find themselves a team fight though, Chronicler, because I think that with the way that Dread has been accelerated and with the fact that they have Ornn, there is a lot of opportunity for really fun team fighting here from Nongshim. Yeah,
I also think that despite having Sivir, Sylas and Ornn, overall, the value of a Zillion in this comp is so astronomical. Like, I really can't highlight enough that the amount of damage that Gumayusi is going to be able to do in the late game due to having a Zillion, not even to talk about Faker, who presumably will also be doing a lot of peeling duties, is very, very disheartening with, I think, how a lot of the Nongshim wins have played out. I think that if this was a different draft where you can actually lock down Guma and take him down, with Dread and BDD as dive buddies, and then Ghost can provide the reliable backline damage, it looks a lot better. But now, I don't know if you're comfortable going into the late game, even with how much power you have in terms of general draft, just because of... I've seen what Zeri can do, and we haven't seen, if I'm not mistaken, Zeri and Zillion yet.
No, I don't think
so.
Which
I think especially in Korean is probably... There's a great name for that.
Zerillion.
There you go.
It sounds like either a J.R.R. Tolkien book or a rock.
Why not both?
That's true.
Yeah. Maybe perhaps. It's a book named after a rock.
Yeah. About, but elven lore or something like that.
But it's bad to face. I don't think it'll be particularly fun. And for Nongshim, I would love to see them really going hard, because if they do get a substantial lead, I think the T1 comp is so hard to play as...
All right, Carrier is going to get hit by that chain. Actually looked like he was out of it, but going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. Heal actually utilized as well, as the Rift Herald going to get a charge. All the money goes to Owner. And I think in this stage, after the rough early game that he had, then this is actually going to really help him out as far as his ability to get back on the horse. And of course, he doesn't really need a whole lot of help there. He's Owner, and he's playing Lee Sin, so he couldn't be more comfortable.
Yeah, also,
in this scenario.
Yeah, in terms of CS, he'd still remain on parity thanks to also the help of his team.
Yeah.
And picks up 1 kill, so not too far behind.
He might pick up a second one as well, as the Q is going to connect there onto Snowflower. There is the hostile takeover. That is going to be used defensively, and so now won't have that for any upcoming team fights that are going to occur. Thankfully for Nongshim, it's about a minute and a half before the next potential battle is going to be upon us. And they might be gifted a crocodile that is moving towards this one, just standing outside of it. He knew what was up. And you mentioned
this is
Zeus' game sense. Yeah.
He knows. He knows. Doesn't fall for these. And Also want to highlight that his build is a great choice here. Blade the Rune King, obviously a very strong item in general. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for the Sunfire second. Of course, that interaction getting nerfed on the next patch, but still playing our final day of 12-13. So has a lot of power in that regard. Also, you have so much AD damage with Guma and Owner as well that I think like Blade the Rune King, Cleaver, trying to go for a kind of off-tanky bruiser with a lot of setup for the rest of your team.
Yep.
Make sure that the armor on the enemy team gets shredded through a little bit earlier is a really nice way to still provide a lot of value in the later stage of the game.
I think Renekton might even still be building, you know, Sunfire in the next patch as well, just because of the bonus health.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point.
Could certainly be still a possibility. However, that we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. That's not going to be now. That's going to be next week. We move 12-14 as BDD trying to get into position here against Keria, who just explodes. Doesn't even ult himself. Not going to be able to do so here as Ghost not going to have his spell shield procced, but not going to die as well. So that is just a pick. And the first, and the third kill, sorry, for Nongshim. As Snowfire taking a bit of damage here from Faker. BDD off to the side. Handshake not going to land here as there's the Assault and Batteries. Faker just goes a million miles underneath his turret. Emperor's Divide is going to get a flash out of Dread as well as BDD looks to try and get in there. There's an Emperor's Divide back to the Azir, and BDD will pick up the kill. Some revenge, some catharsis for the Nongshim mid laner.
BDD has made a million of those plays this time around, though. He is on Silas. Doesn't matter, you already highlighted it during the draft as we are flashing left and right. First Snowflower, and then the entire chain of events gets set off where everyone flashes for this, and then the ultimates come through. Love to get a replay of that. Really, really fun sequence of events with a couple of oopsies on both sides. And overall, will be a trade that is favorable for Nongshim.
Yeah.
Them picking up, of course, Keria. Downside of Zillion is that he is monstrously squishy, and if you get caught, you just kind of die. So Guma feeling safe.
Of course, Keria not ideally going to be in a position where he ults himself, as there's the Ornhorn. Okay, Keria, oh, I don't know how you managed to get around that, as the rock is going to be placed there with the Mountain Rift, and it's Ornn that picks up the kill on the Zillion. Now Gumayushi going to get the same treatment. He just explodes as BDD ults him with his own ultimate. And now Ghost is looking to break down this outer turret in the mid lane. BDD going to teleport back towards that bottom lane as well to stop Faker from making the cross-map play. And now Zeus, I don't think he's going to be able to get over here. Bolt Breaker going to have to be respected as Dread charges it to infinity. And now BDD actually trying to catch Faker, but he's not going to be seen. Scryer's Orb going to pick up the information there, and Faker is still actually trying to fight it out against BDD, but he does have Shifting Sands as well as an Arise, so he's going to be absolutely fine. And Nongshim continuing to rack up the advantages.
Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, Atlas. You can't stay that far forward. At first we get the fun events where Keria saves his ult for the next play, where he also gets muted. And here, Snowflower goes in. Doesn't hit the handshake, but it's about the message. And then Faker goes all the way underneath the turret. Really nice flash from Dread there. And then, crucially, T1 feel like they have the edge. Then BDD with some beautiful chains. Turns out he doesn't need to play Azir to hit a big Azir ultimates. And then this is what I'm talking about. You feel so safe here because of the amount of mobility that you have, and you have a Zillion ult as well. But these are the fights that I think Nongshim should be looking for. Loving that they're playing it so proactively at this point in time, because again, if T1 just get to the later stage of the game, I think the game is going to be much harder for you to play out, although still possible. But hitting them this hard, where just like in the previous game, T1 in mid-game, they have a tendency to just kind of take it a little bit easier. And
limit testing,
Nongshim
right?
is not landing them.
No, and BDD having a much better game on the Silas this time around. 2-0-1 on this pick. He only, I believe, tried it one time, and it went so poorly for Nongshim that they have never really gone back to it. But this is looking so much better. BDD obviously putting in a lot of time onto that one as Keria just runs really quickly, well, floats really quickly on the Zillion. So very difficult to lock him down. I think that Canna might rethink trying to hit him next time around.
Yeah, he got a heal.
Yeah, there we go.
The traits.
Ships in the night. Canna and Zeus will pass each other by.
Oh my! He's gonna. Zeus is doing it. That's a He's not going Sunfire, Atlas.
Wow, is this the classic mid laner?
That's a Prowler Scroll. Oh yeah,
Scroll build?
Yeah, that's Blade Ringing Prowler Scroll that's coming through there.
You'll love to see it.
Really changes, I think, how the T1 composition is expected to play out. Because instead now, they're diving.
All right, there's some chains. There's some more chains. As BDD coming on over.
Dread.
That is a preemptive ulti as Dread has Assault and Battery. So now Faker, without the ult, he's real dead. Dread's going to pick that one up. Denting Blows is going to allow that one to come through. And now Nongshim with a man advantage on the map. They're looking to take down Shirley. They might be able to deny this one. Great handshake there from Snowflower to make sure that Shirley's not going to be doing anything, and Gumayusi not able to offer enough damage back. Doesn't even have Phantom Dancer yet. Does want to get to Infinity Edge before he's really going to be doing much of anything. And Zeus back towards this bottom lane to try and get something here.
I'm loving the play from Nongshim here. One of the things that makes T1 so oppressive to play against, that made him so good, is hold that thought. Yeah,
Gumayusi Extendo Beam gets the flash out of Canna. The ulti comes through here as well. Can they finish off the dive is the question, and the answer's no, because he just walks his way out. Ona trying to find himself a kick play, but he doesn't quite get there. As there's the chrono shift used by Keria finally. Emperor's Divide comes through from BDD, and Faker was trying to get on top of him, but the bomb's not enough damage to take down BDD. And Nongshim, they keep everyone alive. Yes, the inner turret falls down. Theoretically, it's actually a lost trade, but man, it looked really cool from Nongshim.
Keeping it close here, Atlas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Overall, gold lead still very, very, very close to one another. Obviously, a slight one for Nongshim, but I'm kind of baffled that with 7 kills.
Yeah, I feel like they should be winning by like more than nothing.
Yes.
But it's like 700 gold, which is approximately nothing.
Yeah. A large part of that, of course, is the amount of gold that that Zeus has been able to pick up over Kana. So bounty that came through on Dread earlier on. But what I'm loving here from Nongshim is that they're actually utilizing the power of Sylas and Vi in side lanes, where unlike in the previous game where it was Seraphine and like side laning basically doesn't exist, especially when Sylas gets ahead, it becomes very hard to play out reliably for the Azir. And if you also add the lockdown of Dread, and the fact that T1 has a tendency to always shove lanes, and that's what you saw happen there as well, right?
Yeah.
If we get a replay of it, take note of how lit up in blue that topside jungle is the moment that play comes through. Nongshim knows that even though T1 loves shoving in multiple lanes as Ghost, you are not Zeri.
This is danger times.
Okay, he's fine. No problem.
I'm going to be Jet Set radioing as BDD is going to find Zeus. This is not close, even in the slightest little bit at all. What? Wow. Okay. Zeus is a handbag.
Yeah. Side laning, as I mentioned, not really an option.
Was Zeus on like 10% health when that started?
No, he didn't have Dominus. And also BDD has 2 items, and he has 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I don't know what the level lead was, but I assume it was...
It looked a little bit one-sided there.
It was, Atlas.
It did look a bit like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Whoa. I think I need more sleep if I'm going to be able to comprehend the things that happened.
So they were even.
About even, yeah.
Okay.
Let's check out the... Okay, here it is. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back. We've got about 4 replays to get through here, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to bear with us.
Yeah, this is amazing. You also see T1 immediately recognizes that Faker is dead. So I do think that they immediately try to make a cross-map play, but that's not really an opportunity for them because 3 people on Nongshim are already protecting as...
This is called hitting every button. And Zeus greets for the turret because he knew he was dead.
Yep, might as well. Yep. As there is the Proudest Claw, which is going to help with getting on top of Ghost. And that's your... well, I guess Snowflower is not a bad target. That's it. Because if you jump on anyone else, you die. You don't do a whole lot. And I feel like we need to get the certification offers involved because unless we get one of those...
I think Wolf might be able to actually make the phone call for us. He'll be able to tell you guys how the call went with the certification office once we get to the desk.
If you don't get that, I think there's a lot of options. You can, unless you find a massive outplay. Like, I'm talking...
Well, speaking of massive outplays, BDD's going to come on through here and lock down Zeus. He prowls, but Ghost is not going to die. Hostile takeover comes through. Faker's going to have to go golden in order to avoid it. Emperor's Divide, the flash. Faker trying to keep himself alive, but BDD, he closes the gap. He gets thrown back towards Gumayusi as Kanna's now inside the fight as well. And BDD this time around has a team around him and so isn't going to be able to be singled out and killed. And T1 may just losing in the turret here, although they don't have a minion wave and Snowflower's taking too much damage here from Gumayusi. Ona not going to find that Q. Needs another buff to extend that range ever further after the one from a couple of years ago. And BDD now just looking to clear up the river. Nongshim have, they are not going quietly into 2023, okay?
No. As BDD, Zeus just doesn't really get to play the game. Still note that
he almost killed Ghost.
No, he will, as long as he doesn't first get taken to 30% by BDD. That's just inevitable, but my main question going into this is, why has BDD not played Sylas before?
He has!
Well, yeah.
It was terrible!
Yeah! Well, how did that happen? I don't get it. Because this is the performance you're going to put out. Might have wanted to pick that one up before.
And he used to play it, and he was great. It's just, I don't know, he picks it once this season, and it doesn't go well, and then, you know, it's like the mojo question. It's like, I'm not managing to make this pick work. Let's just avoid it. But, man, it looks real good here. And, of course, a reactionary Sylas is always way better, Chronicler. Like, that's how Sylas was supposed to be picked. They pick a whole bunch of really cool ultimates, and you punish it by picking Sylas. He's not supposed to be strong enough to be blind picked like he has been on this patch. Okay, well, Brambleback is floating.
Yeah.
Ghost, you're going to get proud, my friend. Be careful, as Zeus just going to flash on. That's a very dead Sivir. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the proudest ball does.
Yes, it does.
Glad we got to show it to you guys.
It reminds me of saltwater crocodiles from the Northern Territory. You know, they move very, very quickly over short distances. As BDD has the Dominus, and T1 are just booking it to the Baron.
Why not? Might as well. This is very risky, regardless, because even though you have multiple people alive, BDD and Dread.
Yeah, Dread is certainly one of those people that is alive. Snowflower as well can do a lot of work with this hostile takeover. Here's the Ornhorn. BDD getting into the back of the pit. Great double knock up there from Kanna. Zeus gonna go down first. Kanna locks up that kill. Chrono Shift has been used onto Ona here as Dread gets into the pit. They want to take down the Lee Sin. It's a double kill here for Kanna, who's just a bodyguard for this Baron. And Nongshim feed T1 a serving of their own medicine here in the Baron pit. BDD gets the chain, but it's a great Emperor's Divide here from Faker, but the Chain Lash is even better. It's another kill for BDD. He locks down the double. Give him the triple, Nongshim. They absolutely will. And I think we might be going to game 3.
Unbelievable! Oh, Nongshim!
We're struggling to process this right now.
Are these score lines flipped? Have I been missing something? This Summer Atlas says it starts off well, and I really like this pick. I think there is no problem there. But then to go for Baron into, again, Fat Sylas, Renata, and On.
Oh,
that's very confident, Atlas.
And Zeus thought that he was going to be able to get the stun. And Canis, moved just the right way.
Even if you do, you're tanking a Baron. We're not that late into the game. And
it was played so well here by Nongshim.
Yeah. They really...
This is the BDD that we saw at Worlds, right? This is the guy that we've been looking for all year.
But and the coolest thing to me is, the beginning of this game was about Dread.
Yeah.
It started off being about Dread, and then it was about BDD. But if you look at that fight, Kanna hitting a couple of beautiful knockups, Snowflower getting a bunch of key handshakes.
Are we talking about Nongshim playing as a team and looking like a unit,
we are not ready for this power.
What year is it?
We don't deserve it, Atlas.
We are
not allowed to witness this.
No, we're not.
But it's happening anyway.
They have a huge lead as they push these Baron minions towards inhibitor turrets. Zeus trying to split where he can, of course, not exactly super valuable in a siege scenario, and he will be able to get some bounty gold as they take down the inner turret. And yeah, that is going to be Mountain Soul here for Nongshim. Mountain Soul on, who has an Abyssal Mask. BDD is going to be doing even more damage.
Yeah, I don't think he needs the help.
No, absolutely not.
But he will. Which I think
he'll take it. I think he'll take it. The 7-0-3 Sylas will be pretty happy to have even more damage, I reckon.
Up. upgrade that. Go to the library, BDD. Show us what you've read, because
Yes,
I don't want to see.
please.
I don't want to see that Dark Seals stuck on 10.
No, we want that 25.
We need more. Also, Ghost playing one of the most Ghost games that I've ever seen. I don't know how his skill participation. I feel like even just by ricocheting, this should be fine. But you know what he's not doing? Dying.
Do you know what he's doing? He's making sure that he locks down the Prowler's Claw cooldown so that the Silas doesn't have to deal with that.
Keeping the crocodile occupied. Someone needs to be bait.
Exactly. And that's how you capture a crocodile, you know. I would actually have no idea how to capture a crocodile. It sounds like a really bad idea to me. But I imagine it does involve putting something that he likes to eat in front of him. And that is the Sivir in this case. As Nongshim now just want to try and break open the base and solidify their control over this game. It is a 5,000 gold lead, by no means insurmountable. As T1, well and truly not out of this yet, but I'm just really enjoying talking about Nongshim positively, and I'm going to continue to do so until they throw away this lead or win the game, okay?
We don't get a lot of opportunity.
No, we don't!
We need to savor it! Savor today!
Absolutely. This Brambleback likely to go down. Gumayusi still waiting for that certification as Faker wants to get over this wall. Emperor's Divide is going to throw him back again as Sand Soldiers are all over this map. That was a very weird sign that they created there. I think it was a square root that was drawn by the Sand Soldiers. I don't know what that necessarily means. As, yeah, Nongshim are looking to try and end this game. The inhibitor turret will go down. Inhibitor to follow. And we'll see whether Nongshim are going to play this one by the book. Looks like Dread has the idea of pushing out this mid lane instead. And Cyrilda's is now done for Zeus, but it's feeling too little and potentially too late as he's looking for the wraparound. He's still very dangerous as BDD is not the target that he wants, as immediately Zeus is like, I'm out of here. Carrier, make me fast. I must escape. And it is going to be what he does. So, Dread now finally has the minion wave conga lining forward. That extendo beam, not exactly the one that we're expecting, right, from these Zeris. Gumayusi a little bit anemic this game as BDD is just looking so bloodthirsty. 2 inhibitors go down. And Nongshim now have the ability to just get out of here. Loyalty program, bunch of shielding here. And I'm just so sad, Chronicler, that we see Nongshim, like, we saw this. After they were eliminated from playoffs, the very next game, they looked better.
There it is. And it's when you sell this team, it's such an easy sell
so
as well.
Cute. It is so cute.
Yeah, that was adorable. It's such an easy sell as well as, yeah, this is Faker unfortunately not getting over the wall that he really wanted to get over. Unlike Zeri, he's putting a little bit more effort. Not going to be the case. Not able to get over that one due to the lockdown available. And
it was almost the square root.
It was almost fine. But it's an easy sell, right? This is Kana, made World Semis. Dread.
Yeah. I mean, I still stand by the fact that BDD was MVP mid laner of Worlds last year.
I like it.
As, all right, we're going for the fight. They're looking for Carrier, and they will be able to get his chrono shift. Immediately, BDD turns into a bigger crocodile than the actual crocodile that is now trying to kill Kana. You cannot kill Kana. He's the one guy that you cannot kill. And Dread is going to get his flash. As now Zeus is on the wrong side of the map. 2 seconds before this Baron is available, and they do not have their chrono shift. Let's see whether Dread's going to be able to win this 1v1.
Yeah,
Denting Blows is going to be in there. And
real strong.
He is. And he's got a bunch of damage. Now the turrets are going to be there, so Zeus does get himself out. But that was a legit 1v1 between Dread and himself.
I think they've done it.
Yeah, well, BDD is looking to solidify it even further. As he's got an Emperor's Divide available, he's going to throw it back there onto Ona. More chains. He's just 1v2ing. Make that 3. Baron is going to be secured here. BDD goes golden. 8, 0, and 4. He is legendary on the map right now. What happened? I'm actually just so bothered.
It's finally Nongshim playing to the peak of what this roster should have been able to do for the entire year. And we're getting it on day 7 of week 8 of summer.
Yeah.
And what a timeline it could have been, because I think T1, as mentioned previously, has definitely taken a few liberties this game. Liberties that I don't expect they will take again in the seemingly inevitable 3rd game. But to just chalk it up to that would do service to how incredibly well Nongshim punish the tendencies of T1. I'm talking about the multiple topside collapses. I'm talking about T1's tendencies to be too far up in lanes. And Nongshim just throw the gauntlet and punch them in the face with it.
Well, now Cannon's just headbutting rocks and things like this as well, as the Ornhorn is going to come through. There's a knock-up, but it's only onto Owner as BDD looking to try and escape from this one. He should be able to do so. He's actually throwing chains back, which is pretty dangerous. As Gumayusi, he is very scary. Will get stunned. There's now Ghost, still at full health, wants to get these autos through. The ricochets are so dangerous. Ghost gets thrown back, but the bailout comes through. He flashes and gets on top, but that's Chrono Shift, as Gumayusi's going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. Carrier as well is just running for the hills, and Goom is going to be taken down. Ghost taking matters into his own hands, and Nongshim will even out the series here with T1, and I don't care if they just go on to lose Game 3. I am still so happy that we get to see Nongshim performing this well.
Get that camera on BDD. He's earned it. And in theory, this is the Nongshim that was promised to us at the beginning of the split. It is a team with Ghost being in a supportive role, just a punching back like he has